Hey, folks, welcome to Spooky Appalachia. I'm your host, Jimmy. You might have noticed I'm wearing this really cool shirt from the old hospital on College Hill. It's in Williamson, West Virginia. We just went this past weekend and did some filming there for one of our spooky sightseeing videos. We'll actually have two videos. One could already be out by the time you're seeing this, but we're hoping to have two videos. Be sure to check them out. And the old hospital on College Hill, it was an amazing place. We found out about it on Destination Fear, so it's getting famous. Check them out. Show them your support and love. So for this week's story, we have one sent in by a fan who had a couple of freaky and uncomfortable encounters with a spirit back in March of 2023. So it's a recent one, and well, here it is. So nothing was sighted, but something was felt. My boyfriend at the time had a less than friendly spiritual attachment that I believe laid in bed with me. This is 100% real and not falsified or exaggerated in any way. I was laying in bed in a hotel room just outside of Washington, D.C. on a school trip. The two people in the room with me, we shall call E and A for privacy reasons. E slept in the bed beside mine, and A was asleep on an air mattress in the corner of the room. Our curtain was drawn, and all the lights were out. I laid in bed with my laptop on my legs, writing my book. I remember it clear as day, the words I was writing and everything. I felt the warmth and weight of an arm come around my shoulder. While I was alone in bed, it felt so real to me that I leaned in a bit further. I felt the shoulder of an arm around me, then gasped and realized there was no one there. It took me a few days to fully shake off the feeling of fear that began to linger after my encounter. I had never experienced anything like that in my entire life before. 2 days later, I was sitting in the CVS parking lot on the way back home, waiting for my dad to pick up some chocolate. I felt it again. It felt lighter this time, more gentle. And instead of coming around me, it just rested softly on my shoulders. My boyfriend at the time worked in a nearby haunted sanitarium and had many spiritual encounters. I called him and asked what the heck it could have been, and we settled on residual energy from him being around me all day for 3 days straight. But something about that night still didn't feel right to me. Another interesting thing is my boyfriend, who we'll call G at the time, was a witch along with his mother. Without exposing any personal information, he's had a negative attachment since childhood. He and the boys in the hotel room with him, I'll call I and R, experienced things that same night. Three knocks clear as day on the second floor window, no balconies in the hotel. They've never gone into detail about the things they saw that night, but they definitely all experienced something. R took a picture of what was there, but I lost the image. I'll leave their stories to be told at their will, but an image captured a figure by the bathroom. The wall behind it was blank and there were no lamps. And on that side of the room, they couldn't have mistaken it for anything but the figure. I still think about that night, although I no longer speak to the group. I'm sure it hasn't left their minds. Wow, that's something else. It kind of reminded me of that story we had a while back. It was tucked in by a spirit. I mean, this didn't sound like it was something evil or less than friendly. She said something about a less than friendly spiritual attachment. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like it was trying to cause any harm, but yeah, it reminded me of that tucked in by a spirit. It almost sounded like to me it was like trying to comfort her. Um, it's really hard to say, you know. It's definitely a good story, and big thank you for sending that in. I mean, I'm not a big hugger myself. I personally would have not enjoyed that, but yeah. Um, So, if you've had a paranormal encounter or sighting that you'd like to send to us, you can use our Google form that's in the description and on our link tree, or you can email it to us at spookyappalachia@gmail.com. Also, big thank you to our Patreons. If you're not, I mean, if you've thought about becoming one, definitely pull the trigger and do that. It helps tremendously. It's actually surprisingly expensive to run all this, but let's give them all a big thanks. Adam, Alvin, Charles, Danielle, Donald, Jeff, Jordan, Julia, Linda, Shannon, Taylor, and our friends over at Werewolf Radar Podcast. Be sure to check them out. And thank you all for watching.